Hey YouTube, Do-It-Yourself Junkie 369 here, and today is day 64 of our RV-10 build, and I'm still working on the horizontal stabilizer. Last video I was supposed to drill in this, I think it's the stringer web here in the middle, and you have to get a 90-degree drill to do it, or a 90-degree drill attachment. And looking at the aircraft websites, about everything I could find was well over $100. And finally I came across a pneumatic tool at Harbor Freight that is fairly small. What did you do? And as you can see, comparing them, that's the difference. That's a huge difference. And because I was using it so intermittently, I figured that a cheap tool from Harbor Freight probably would do the job more than well enough. And just to show that to you again, that is about the end of the chuck there. So several inches shorter, and definitely can fit in that place. And I wanted to go with this type of setup because that way I could use whatever drill bit I want to put in there. I don't have to use a drill bit that's specific or specialized. And so it comes with a chuck key, which is nice. And it also comes with the fitting that I need to put in there, wherever I set it out. There it is. So I'll go ahead and get this set up and use it. And originally in the video I had said, oh, I'll mark this and I'll do it much later, and that spot will be open through the build and I don't have to worry about it right now. Well, on the very next page, after you take everything apart and dimple and deburr everything and start putting it back together, those stringers and that web are about the first piece that get riveted together. And so without the rest of the assembly there, which means you need to have it ready to be riveted almost immediately. So I can't put off drilling that as long as I thought I was able to. But luckily, I could find something locally. Yeah, so very next page, about step 2, you have to have that thing drilled. So I can't take it apart, put it back together, and then match drill it like I thought I could. But that's okay. If you don't have a Harbor Freight or someplace to pick up one of these cheap, you can always go online and find something. It'll probably cost a little bit more. And if that's not an option, I did find some electric versions of this drill that ran about 50 bucks if I remember correctly, which isn't too bad. The other option is to get a drill attachment that goes on your normal drill. What I didn't like about those though is the attachments usually use specialized drill bits, and so then I would have to go and figure out where to get a number 30 specialized drill bit, and that just seemed like a whole bunch of extra work that would be difficult for me to do. I just need to get this thing set up the rest of the way and add some. I'll probably read the instructions and figure out what this part does, and then get those pieces drilled real quick. And here what I'm doing is taking one of these drill bits and shortening it just a little bit with a cutoff wheel, because even with this drill it's still a real tight fit to get in there. So I'm just taking the drill bit that I've used the most, I'm going to shorten it because it's near the end of its life anyway, and if I ruin it, it's not really a big loss. It's getting to the point where I need to throw it in the trash anyway. And when you do that, it'll probably create a burr. So you want to take that burr off so it doesn't cause the drill bit to sit in the drill at a weird angle. Basically, I laid this out flat so I can go ahead and do the holes on the nose rib and stay perpendicular to the skin and get down here without having to bend over a lot and worrying about the drill hitting the workbench, and the workbench getting in the way of getting the proper angle. I'm not labeling these as a disassemble as the step says, because I already labeled them as I was putting them on. And then also, except for the holes that were just match drilled, all the edges on these have been deburred. Okay, so we have here two different piles of ribs. Neither one of these have been the edges deburred at all. But then these four here in the center should have deburred edges. These four innermost ribs are the ones that are already deburred. So I'm keeping those separate. All I need to deburr on this pile are just the match drilled holes. And then same thing with these. They're all deburred except for the holes that you drilled in them. Okay, so looking ahead, I have to dimple the skins and the rib flanges, and these are the two inboard ribs here that have corresponding flanges to the holes that you marked on the skins for not dimpling. So now I have to go back and figure out which holes do not get dimpled in this flange. And it's just on the top. So just a reminder, this side right here is the leading edge that goes into the front spar. So, and then I numbered these 1 through 16 or whatever. So this is number 7 and number 8. So front, left to right, which means this flange right here is the top. I've got that marked as the top. Now I need to figure out which holes do not get dimpled. And basically the row of rivets going across here, that's the front spar, which corresponds to this hole right here. And then the next hole after that does not get dimpled. And then you have 2. And then you have a hole that does not get dimpled. So this one's not dimpled, this one's not dimpled. And then you have 4 holes. Now the tricky part with that is these flanges sitting here, and that is 2 of the holes that is on the skin there. So you have this hole, 2 holes, and this hole. That's 4 holes from here to here, because you have those stiffeners there. So those 4 holes get rivets, but then this hole does not. So far we have this one does not, this one does not, then you have these 2 holes here, and then this one does not. And then 2 holes get dimpled, and then the very last hole does not. And then you have the rear spar that attaches here, and then there's another hole on that rear spar, and that's that next line of rivets. And then for the other rib, you just match that up. And when I wipe these down with acetone, that's going to come off there. So usually what I do is right before I wipe down that surface, I'll take a photo or just memorize where it is, wipe it down, let it dry, and then immediately mark it without doing anything else in between those two steps. That way I don't forget. And checking that against the skin, it's correct. So it's a lot of deburring here. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and prime these. That way, while I'm waiting for the primer to dry on that, I can work on some deburring for the rest of the ribs. And then later I can do some riveting and assembly while I'm still trying to deburr everything. That way it kind of breaks up the monotony of deburring everything. I mean, so far, just the nose ribs alone and the HS1016 part here, the web, without the stringers and these ribs, that was over 130 holes that you have to deburr both sides to. So it's a lot of deburring, and when you get to the wings, it's going to be the same deal. A lot of deburring. So I'll go ahead and get those primed and then come back and work on deburring some more. So on this, make sure you do a pattern and you stick to it. I had missed the 5 holes here for the nose rib, and then somehow I missed the 6 holes that were in between 2 ribs over here as far as deburring. Luckily though, I was going back and checking all of that before I moved on. Now I just need to, I've got one more side to do, and then I'm done with one skin. That's how many holes there are in this thing to deburr. My rivet count is just going to like triple when I get done with this part. Okay, that's going to be it today. Basically spent 6 hours deburring. Did get some priming done, and I could have put these parts together, but I think I'm going to wait until I have some friends over and give them a chance to do some riveting. Only about halfway just deburring the skins. And reading ahead, it looks like when assembly starts, you need pretty much the skins and most of the ribs like right off the bat, so I can't get too far ahead. I can continue deburring that one and then break it up with some dimpling on the skin that I've finished. Other than that, I'm going to have to call it quits. That's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. I know the end of it there was basically just me sitting there deburring. That's not very exciting to watch. But once we get into the assembly of stuff, that'll be much more activity going on and definitely more exciting to watch. Please consider subscribing if you want to get notification when I upload videos. You don't have to hit the bell icon. That actually sends out an email when I upload something. If you're just a subscriber, it'll send you like a little notification inside YouTube. It's usually like your subscriptions will have a little red dot that says, hey, they uploaded new content since you visited them last. So think about doing that. It helps me out. Thanks for everybody that has subscribed so far. It's really great to finally be done with homework and back working on something I enjoy doing. And that's about all I have. Hope you watch the next video when I get it uploaded. And thanks for watching.